Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World, and in this video I'm going to give you my first impression on GARAM. This is not going to be a character review video, same reasons that I gave you guys for the Anak video. And yeah, I will just briefly talk about my experience with this unit. We're going to go over the skills and some other stuff, but nothing too in-depth. Even though the one for Anak ended up being longer than I expected, but with this one I will try not to waste too much time, let's say. So I will immediately say that this unit is super strong. At high investment is really a fucking monster and can chain the special moves so much that you will have the effects up almost 100% of the time. So absolutely a monster. But I wouldn't recommend most of the players to go for Rainbow 5. Absolutely, I don't want to say unnecessary, but overkill in most scenarios. And a lot of players, if you don't have like Kaiser Rainbow 5, you should definitely not go for Garam Rainbow 5, just in general as a logic of priority. It's true that we have the special banner for her that has the half the amount of copies needed for PT, but at that point I would say just save for DPS, and when there is an actual good DPS that's getting released, go all in on it and get him to Rainbow 5. For this kind of support that we're going to see in the skills, doesn't really scale too much from additional dupes. I will say one copy is enough. She's also ranged, so survivability is less of an issue. You can just get away with some resistances and you'll be fine. So I wouldn't really go out of my way to get dupes for her, and I wouldn't even pull in the special banner to get the first dupe. Just wait for her to be added to the PT on the normal banner, or just maybe open an SSR Plus selection box. That's also a good option. And then I would still focus on Kaiser. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. If you already have Kaiser, if you already have a lot of SSR Plus duped, then by any means go for her. Super solid option. But most of the people, I will say, are not in that situation. So yeah, if you are a whale or a spender, go for it. It's a cheaper SSR Plus Rainbow 5. We all know sooner or later you will get it anyway, so you might as well get it now. That's kind of the idea. But for low spenders and free-to-play players, again, I would save your resources for an actual DPS, that if they keep this kind of special banner as a standard, you can easily max her out with like 500 pulls, which is not much, to be honest. So super good. You can use your Suspendium and black market tickets in that scenario. I wouldn't use them for Garam again. So yeah, that's just the first thing that I wanted to say here. Now, in terms of skill, we can just quickly go over what she has. She has really good stuff, not gonna lie. So the first thing is the passive. The Bell of Dawn rings every 10 seconds, creating a barrier equals to a certain percentage of attack, whatever, for 5 seconds. All targets are purified to remove all debuffs and status effects from allies and remove buffs from enemies. Garam gains 1 crystals for each successful purification. Max 5. Absolutely amazing. Now, one of the reasons why I said she doesn't need dupes is because we'll notice also in the other skills, the things that we care about don't really scale with levels. Like in this case, Bell of Dawn doesn't get lower in proc rate with additional levels. It's always going to be 10 seconds. So no reason for getting additional levels. She's just getting a bigger barrier, which is not really that important. So yeah, for the passive, absolutely amazing. Cleanse of both enemy buffs and your allies debuffs, absolutely amazing. And yeah, not much to say here. With Revolution, we see here she's going to get an additional attack increase by 20% each time the bell rings for all allies. Absolutely amazing. The thing is, to get to 5 stacks, it will take at least 50 seconds, and this will only work if you're not facing an Urek or whatever, because obviously against Urek, no buffs apply. If you're facing another Garam, basically this buff is non-existent, because you will apply it and the enemy Garam will remove it. So absolutely non-existent, but whatever. And yeah, if you're facing also Anniversary Iwa, same issue. So that's kind of a problem now that they're adding this kind of mechanic to a lot of units. It's going to be super annoying when you face like when you face them in adventure and in PvP and whatever. Like a lot of stuff is losing value because of it. But we're going to touch upon that maybe in dedicated videos, we'll see. So yeah, so far the passive, amazing, doesn't need levels, which is huge. Then we have Ancient Cloth, the first active skill. She's going to wrap the enemy with the iced attack and bind them for 6 seconds, quite a long time. This is the same mechanic as Stone Prison or the bag skill for Kunagero. I don't particularly like it too much, but it's fine for the blue team in general. They don't have units that target highest attack enemies, so it's fine, like it is for the purple element with Kunagero. The only one that I don't really like is the one for Awakened Rock. I don't really like that, but okay. This one is fine, and is going to also knock down the enemy when they're released, and she's going to gain 2 Force Crystals, pretty good, and this only activates when there are 2 or more enemies. So it's just removing the enemy with the highest attack, which is fine, again, in the blue team, and in most cases. Just when you're running units like Child Yuri could be kind of an issue. When you're running it on a red team is kind of an issue, that's why Awakened Rock is really weird. Other than those, I would say it's fine, doesn't matter. And then we have Blue Sword Aura. She's going to become immune to such effect, teleport behind the ally with the iced attack, and unleash 3 piercing sword auras, and finally return to her starting position. Every aura, when it makes contact with an ally, is going to recover 100 energy, and when it makes contact with an enemy, deals damage and decreases the target defense. Now, this defense does scale with level. At level 1 is only 10%, so a 30% increase if a 3 blades hit against 60% at level 5. Quite a difference. Doesn't matter that much that you want to actually get her to 3 red. Not necessarily, not from my point of view. So it's okay. And she's also going to get a Force Crystal for each enemy. I will say these Force Crystals are generated really quickly. Like, she has a lot of ways to generate and they cap at 5. So, okay. Pretty nice mechanic. So yeah, this was the last active skill. It's interesting as a way to give 300 energy to your highest attack ally and just decrease the enemy defense a little bit. Pretty good. Then we have this special move. Garam becomes invincible, teleports behind allies, then releases a ray of light to deal 100% of her attack as damage to all enemies. This is wrong, but I'm going to say why in a second, and stun them for 5 seconds. She then increases all allies' physical and magic resistance by 30%. This does not scale with levels. And special move Pierce by 60% for 8 seconds. This does scale and it's 30% level 1. Still super good. Is it worth it to get to 3 red for this increase? Not from my point of view. Anything else doesn't scale. Just the damage, whatever. Like, she does deal a good amount of damage if you invest in her later on. At first, doesn't matter at all. Even a 3 red doesn't really matter too much. So this one, okay, definitely a good buff. If you're running her with Kaiser, you don't care about this point, but definitely good with certain units. Everything else, again, doesn't scale, so no reason really to get more dupes. That's my point of view. And then if we look at the Revolution part, this is Revolution 5, all allies are going to recover 200 energy when the Torrent of Light activates. This is good to chain this Torrent of Light and also to help every other unit just cast their special move. This is overall super solid and really good. So yeah, nothing much to mention here. Now, the thing regarding dealing damage to all enemies, this is kind of wrong. Like, this does not apply if the enemy is like in your backline. This only apply if the enemy is basically in their half of the field or like your frontline level. If they are in your backline, she's not hitting them. Now, I don't know if this is intentional or not. It's probably a bug, because if you see the short I uploaded yesterday, like, there was a Viol that was in my backline. She cast this special move like 2 or 3 times while Viol was there. She never hit him. So it's really strange. Here it clearly states all enemies, but this is only if the enemies are like on the other side or your front line, or just straight in front of her. If they are behind her, doesn't work. So probably not intentional, it's probably a bug, but definitely something to keep in mind. It won't really matter that much, but just a quick note on that. And that would be all I would say for skills on Revolution. There's not much to say. Definitely a nice kit. I feel like Anak has a way more stacked kit than her, but definitely they work super well together. And we're also going to touch on that in a second. First, let's go over the exclusive equipment. Finally, they started to give physical resistance to supports, and they should probably give physical resistance to everyone, because really magic resistance you can get super easily from Tree Essence, so it doesn't matter. But physical resistance is super hard to get and super important. So W for the exclusive equipment additional stat, super good. Then let's look at the effects. We have an HP recovery when the barrier is created. Nice, isn't needed, not necessarily, but you will have it as a quality of life, I would say. Pretty good. Level 2 is pretty interesting. When an enemy is freed from the ancient cloth, their HP recovery is blocked for 10 seconds. And this is the highest attack enemy. So you are blocking the highest attack enemy, they're not dealing damage to your team. You, in the meantime, hopefully kill the rest of the enemy team. When they are released, let's say there is still a support that could heal them back. That's not going to happen, and you can also easily kill the highest attack enemy. This is really, really good. I really like this level 10. Level 3, absolutely a joke from my point of view. HP recovery based on damage dealt. I would say outside of PvP, I don't give a, like, really, it doesn't matter. So I don't like it, but I mean, it's level 20, you have to unlock it for the ignition weapons, so whatever. Then we have level 4, this is a nice addition. Percentage could have been higher, I would have liked at least a 30%. 20 is a bit offensive from my point of view, but we have to remember that this is also going to be applied to the enemy Garam, so that's a good thing at the end of the day. It's better if it's a 20 than if it is higher, so okay, it's fine. It's a nice addition, and I would definitely get it to plus 30 sooner or later. But as all supports, they have lower priority over your main DPS units, so up to you guys. And in terms of ignition weapons, this is getting a bit tricky, I would say. You really have a shit ton of options here. You can run a Doris for the additional swiftness, probably one of the best options you can have for a full supportive Garam. Then you can run a Runda, same reasons, like it's a supportive set, pretty good if you don't have one on the same row already. Then you have two more options. One is Sela, just for the additional survivability, pretty good. The other option is Idea. Idea could be interesting for the effect resistance, really, really solid, and for the quick cast of the second special move, which if you ever invested and you run damage on her, could be pretty interesting to have the buff up fairly quickly and also an easy and quick burst that you could pull off. Definitely a good option. I would say my preferred one would be Doris, because the additional 10 swiftness could help her a bit in chaining the special moves. So I would stick to Doris, but you can potentially do whatever you want. Like, all those 4 sets are entirely viable. The most important thing is that she stays alive. That's all that matters. Which set you use to achieve that, it's irrelevant. All of them have some benefits over the other. You might even go with an hybrid, like 2 Doris, 2 Idea to get the effect resistance and the swiftness. Possible, doesn't matter, up to you guys, and will depend on the enemy composition and also your team composition. So I will say, since you don't have to build a set for her specifically, just share what you already have and move stuff around. No need to build a specific one for her, because at this moment I wouldn't know what to recommend to you. So yeah, that's basically it for her. And in terms of synergy, well, she's pretty much similar to Anak in terms of units she works well with, but she obviously has more of a focus on units that have a really good special move. Irang, I would exclude her because her special move is not really specialized on damage. But units like Eden, definitely good. Compress Rock, super good. And I would say even Data Urek, but really do not use this guy unless you have him fully invested and you're into PvP as well. Otherwise, that guy doesn't exist for you. Wang Nanjai is a good pair, but in general, yellow is already good on his own. I wouldn't really put a Garam in the mix. If you look at purple, obviously Joaquin is going to benefit a shit ton. Mashini not much. Vivi not too much, but she has an okay special move, let's say. Kiseiya could benefit a bit from the assassination from the special move, so that's also a good pair. Everyone else here doesn't really matter. In red, we have obviously Evankel, which would get a pretty substantial buff, I would say. With Viol, doesn't matter at all. Jinsung, also pretty solid. The other ones don't really matter. So again, really big buffs for units that do rely on the special move. Like in this case, though, Kaiser, not really the best pair. Her special move is not irrelevant, but close to it. So I wouldn't really bother too much with her, but definitely has some potential. You could run Kaiser with a more offensive build, relying on the resistances that Garam could provide on a acceptable with an acceptable uptime. But Data Machine is going to benefit from it. We have Meliodas that's going to benefit from it. Other units here I don't really want to mention other than Quaetro. Quaetro is going to benefit immensely from Garam, probably one of the best pair that we have here in the blue element. Elizabeth is also going to benefit a lot because she really has a good special move as well. Urek could benefit too, but this guy really doesn't have a lot of damage. If you full invest with also a Blanc and a Leroro and a Garam, I could see him deal something, but I don't know. I wouldn't really go out of my way for Urek. Unless, again, you are into PvP. It's more like Urek units are more PvP-oriented stuff, pretty much. Here we have a good synergy, potentially with Zahard, if you still have him, if you still want to run him against some blue Ureks. Could buff his special move, which will definitely be beneficial. Definitely good with Ren as well, Child Yuri as well, with Rachel too, Child and Dorsey, like literally strong with a lot of units. Strong with Lore, strong with Shiliel, a shit ton of units. Probably the least amount of synergies are in the blue team. Well, not really, no. She also has a lot of synergies here. Just Kaiser doesn't really care too much about the buffs that Garam is giving her. Because, I mean, the special move Pierce, not that relevant. Everything else is okay-ish. The attack buff, definitely, if you have a Revolution 4, but since I'm telling you guys to go without copies, I would say that really, other than the cleanse from the passive, removing the iced attack enemy for a little bit and blocking the HP recovery, she's not going to benefit too much from the rest of the stuff. So, yeah, okay. But there are so many uses for Garam that you won't really care if she's not working well with Kaiser, because Kaiser is already broken. She already has her team. Doesn't matter if she cannot run with Garam. Absolutely fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Also for Garam as well. And again, I will try her out a bit more and also collect some feedback from other people. And we'll see. I will make the character review video later down the line before I go on holiday again. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for other videos I might need to cover in the near future, let me know so that I can maybe prepare and release them when I will be on holiday. And yeah, if you like the video, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!